Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki LaRose. I just did a full face using only NARS cosmetics. So if you want to see how to get this glam smoky eye, then keep watching. If you like tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. And also give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Okay, so I have my box of fresh and new NARS products. I can't wait to open these up. There's nothing like getting a box in the mail filled with makeup. If you know the feeling, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's just nothing like it. So I have all my new stuff, and then I'll be adding to this look a couple of things I already have in my possession, like an eyeshadow base, a primer. I love this powder. It's the, I always forget the name. It's a translucent crystal pressed powder. It's like a brightening powder. And then I have classic Orgasm blush. Okay, now on to the fun part. I'm gonna open up all my new products so I can have them just down here ready to go. First thing is my foundation. I end up getting the Light Reflecting Foundation in medium 2.5 Sahel. I think I'm saying that right. And this is such a popular foundation. I've tried this when it came out, and I didn't try it too many times after that. I know I liked it, but I wasn't like crazy about it. So needless to say, I'm really happy to give this a second chance and like to really fully give it the opportunity to wow me, because so many people love this foundation. I know a lot of you have been wanting me to try this out, so I'll be trying that out. I did get a mini mascara because if you know my channel, you know that I have a lot of mascaras open and it's kind of driving me nuts. So I didn't want to buy a full size and be wasteful. So I just got a little cute mini, which is nice because I travel a lot for work. I got also the Laguna bronzing cream. I've been a fan of like the classic powder Laguna bronzer from NARS for years and years. So I'm so excited that they came out with a cream formula in the same color. They also have a couple other shades after and before this original shade. And then I got the multiple. It's like the multiple cream stick. It's in the shade Orgasm, so it's like that beautiful classic shimmery pink. Super excited to try that. I've never tried this before. I've tried like their cream blushes at one point, but I've never tried this particular formula. I also got two different eyeshadow duos, basically. I didn't get one of like their big full-size eyeshadow palettes. I'm not really a fan of those. They don't really like catch my eye too much, but there's something about most of these, like these double shadow palettes, that are really beautiful. And I know the quality of these are superb. So I got two different ones. I got Kuala Lumpur. I'm sure I'm butchering these names, so just go easy on me. And I also got Surabaya. And let me show you both of them. So beautiful, intense, rich, smoky brown, and more of like an eggplant mauve situation going on this side. So it's hard to choose. Honestly, I'm probably gonna make a look mixing the two to get something really cool and just, you know, more my style. You know, I love like a good shimmery brown, so this is right up my alley. So those are the shadows that I got. Now for lipstick, I got a classic. And when I think of classic old school NARS and like a must-have lip color, I think of Dolcevita. This is a stunning lipstick. I used to use this a long time ago in my professional makeup kit. I don't know why I haven't repurchased it, to be honest. I think I just kind of forgot about it, which is sad because this is such a beautiful lipstick. I cannot wait to show you this on. It has been, like I said, years since I've worn this. So I'm really excited to have this back in my possession. And you know, there's something about NARS's classic, sleek, matte black packaging. It just really tickles my fancy. Like I love this packaging so much. Now for a lip liner, I wanted to go actually a little less traditional, and I chose a velvet matte lip pencil. I'm gonna line my lips first with this, and this is in the shade Bahama. So this is like a neutral, kind of like a your lip color, but better type shade. So this is Dolcevita, and this is a sheer lipstick. So this is gonna go on a lot less intense than it looks. It's gonna be a beautiful sheer wash of colors. So can't wait for that. I got two concealers. One's gonna go directly into my makeup kit. One is for me. I got the shade Honey in the Radient Creamy Concealer. You know, I have been loving this concealer my entire makeup career. I trust it. I know how it's gonna perform. I know how to use it. I know what to set it with. It's just my go-to. Like, we're BFFs. I never leave home without, or this never leaves my makeup kit, to be real. I got two eyeliners. I got two that I know I love so much. both of which I already have in my professional makeup kit. So it was nice to just buy backups and like have the excuse to buy backups for myself to use personally. So I got Mambo, which is a cult classic. Like, again, speaking of like cult, like classic NARS products that are just timeless and never go out of style, this is one of those products from NARS. Let me show you the color. It's like a really rich caramelly, like a rich caramel brown. Now, one thing to point out is I used to love the old formula of this pencil. NARS did completely reformulate it. So it does actually look a little different from the OG that I used to use and the one that's actually currently in my makeup kit. I found multiples of the old formula before they were completely gone and off the market, which is a little bit of a like slightly lighter in tone. Now, the other one that I got is Last Frontier, and Last Frontier is like probably the best super rich dark brown. This is amazing for tight lining or creating a smoky eye or like a dark smoky and smudgy liner look. Let me show you this one next to Mambo. This is like that perfect almost black brown. And last but not least, I got a gloss, and I wanted to stick to something that's more of like an old school NARS product. And when I think of old school, well, there's Turkish Delight, which is like the most cult classic lip gloss that NARS has ever made. But I was never the biggest fan of that one on myself. I loved it in my kit, but on myself, Chelsea Girls is where it's at. So I got Chelsea Girls. If you know this lip gloss, make sure you leave me a comment and let me know. Hopefully this is going to bring you back. It's just a beautiful, perfect shade. It looks good on so many different people. I love this kind of color, especially on myself. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful topper for that Dolce Vita lipstick. My skin is prepped to start, but I'm going to finish that prep off with the NARS Soft Matte Primer. And I'll just be taking a little bit of this. I'll mainly be using this in my T-zone. I will be applying a very glowy foundation from this brand. So I want to have just, you know, a little bit of balance going into it by just prepping my T-zone only. That way I don't have to rely on too much powder, hopefully, with the finished makeup look. So just applying in my T-zone. All right, let's start this makeup look and let's do something different. Let's start by underpainting. I'm gonna take the Laguna cream bronzer and a Fenty contour brush. Actually, it's a highlighter brush, which I don't know, I think this is way better for contouring personally. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna dip into that fresh, brand new Laguna. I'm gonna take that and let's start to work this on our cheeks, on the top of my forehead. So we're gonna pre-sculpt, and like I said, we're gonna underpaint and switch up the technique just a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, I did a whole reel about underpainting, but of course that was like 60 seconds long, so this is gonna be a little bit longer than that. But I'm going underneath, and I'm gonna put that light reflecting foundation on top of this. And what it's gonna do is give me a pre-contoured effect and create that bone structure underneath the makeup. And what that's gonna do also is it's just gonna actually end up looking much more natural because you're putting that foundation on top of the contour as opposed to the other way around and seeing it visibly on top of the foundation. But I will go in again with a second coat once my foundation is on, depending on like which areas of my face I want to enhance that contour even more. Now, one of the reasons why I can do this also is because I'm choosing a foundation pretty light in coverage. It's a buildable coverage. Initially going on, it's pretty light in coverage, so you'll be able to see this pre-contour underneath the makeup. Now, let's say you were gonna put a full coverage foundation on top of this, there would really be not as much point because you're gonna barely see this product shining through. Because obviously it's a full coverage foundation, so it's meant to give you full coverage. Take it on the side of my nose. Now, switching to a Sephora 26 brush, I'm gonna finish that contour on my nose that I started and work on this tight area of my tear duct, or near my tear duct. Now it's gonna look dramatic, and it's gonna look like a lot until I get my foundation on top of this. Same brush, I'm gonna start to add some dimension and add some depth into my crease before I even go in with my eyeshadows. And then bring that out towards my temple. This is honestly one of my favorite things to do. If I'm taking the time to do my makeup and really like go for it and I want to be just like top notch. Like let's say I have a beauty event to go to or you know, some kind of event, right? Where I really want my makeup to look beautiful and stand out and look just pristine in photos. This is one of those steps that I'll take to give like that extra something something. This is not something I do on a daily basis, that's for sure, because it's definitely more time consuming to do this underpainting technique. Connect it to my nose contour. Switching my brush one more time to a BK Beauty 210 brush. It's like a really small pencil brush. Same product. I'm going to use this to define my lips. That is done. All my pre-contouring and bone structure creating is done. So now we can move on to eyes. I'm not gonna do my foundation quite yet. So I'm gonna switch to one of my tried and true products. In fact, I'm running extremely low on this, but it's been sold out. I'm not sure if they're discontinuing this. If you know, let me know because I'm not aware of it yet. If they are, I just know that they're sold out everywhere. It's the tinted smudge proof eyeshadow base. I love the shade medium to dark. It's for medium to dark skin tones. On me, it's gonna give me just kind of like a warm caramelly base to put my eyeshadows on top. So I'm gonna use whatever's left over of this or whatever's left of it, which is not much. And this is mine, so I'm gonna directly apply that wand. Okay, I got a good amount off. This is, of course, going to keep my eyeshadow on all day. This acts like a great base. So if you're prone to like your eyeshadows creasing throughout the day, if you have more oily eyelids, definitely try this out. This is amazing. So I'm going to switch to a BK Beauty 202 brush and just blend this on top of my eyelid. And then softly into my crease. Grabbing the translucent powder from NARS and a 201 brush from BK Beauty, I'm going to lightly set my eyelids with this. Just to lock all that in to place. So when I go on top with my powder eyeshadows, I'm not going to have any skipping of the product. It's not going to look patchy. And I'll get an easier blend on top. Okay, so now that my base is thoroughly set, let's grab the fun part, which is the eyeshadows. Now to start, I'm going to be using this beautiful deep eggplant. It's like a purple eggplant. It has a little hint of shimmer in it, which I think is so stunning. I'm going to switch over to a 203 brush from BK Beauty. I'm going to dip into that purple and pat this onto my eyelid. Now I want this color to be pretty saturated and really rich, so take note of like how I'm applying it. I'm not buffing it on aggressively. I'm really pressing this onto my eyelid and packing it on almost in like a stippling motion because I want full impact of the color. I have to say, like, this is one of those colors when anytime I use a color like this, my brown eyes are really brought out. So colors like this are just, if you have brown eyes or hazel eyes, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous color that will really bring out your eyes. So patting that on. Now I'm going to switch my brush. I'm going to grab a clean 228 Luxe crease from Zoeva. And I'm just going to do a little bit of blending just to soften the edges of that application. And in case you can't tell, I'm going for more of a smoky eye. More of an intense, sexy, like sultry eye makeup look. So this is not going to be your daily makeup look. It's going to be more for like an evening out or a special occasion. Now switching to an Angie Hot and Flashy A502 brush from BK Beauty, I'm going to dip into this stunning shimmery dark brown. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to work this into my outer corner. Now you're going to see me work in a few layers just to build up the intensity rather than just applying like a massive amount of this shadow all at once and having a hard time trying to blend it out. I'm working in layers and just building up the intensity as I want it. Going back to my Zoeva brush, which has barely any product on it, I'm going to just softly blend those two worlds together and then start to blend it outward, blowing it out a little bit towards my temple. Switching to another small brush. This one is also from BK Beauty. It's a 209 brush. I'm going to use a little bit of this lighter shade and pop it mainly on my tear duct. And then gradually blend it about just a quarter of the way onto my eyelid. Now to line my eyes, I'm going to start with Mambo, and I'm going to work this onto the top lash line. And then pull it out. Now before this dries down too much on that side, I'm going to grab a Zoeva 226 smudger brush and just smudge out that wing a little bit more. So one of the things I loved about the original Mambo formula is it was like more of like an eye kohl. So it wasn't super long wearing, meaning like you could put it on, you could wait a couple seconds, and then you could smudge it out, and like it was movable and like pliable. But this one, the only complaint really is, I mean, not only is the color like slightly darker than the original, but you have like little to no playtime at all. So just something to note. I was still able to like maneuver it around a little bit, but it is a much, much drier formula than the original Mambo, which is good and bad. You know, if you're using this and you want it to stay put and be like budge proof and waterproof, then it's definitely those things. Okay, so eyeliner is pretty much done. I'm going to clean it up, of course, but before I do, I'm going to tightline with that darker eye pencil in Last Frontier and work this on the top lash line. Now that my eyeliner is applied, I'm going to take one of my favorite Q-tips, those pointed ones, and some micellar water, and just clean up and sharpen my liner just a little bit. So looking straight ahead. So of course, when you're doing this, this is crucial that you're looking straight into a mirror and you're not looking down, because it's going to alter where your shape ends up being. Okay, moving on to mascara. So I got a mini Climax mascara. I don't look to NARS for like my go-to mascaras. They have good formulas, but they're not my absolute favorite. Okay, so for lashes, now that my mascara is dried, I'll be using the Naked lashes from Ardell. I'll be just taking one pair and cutting them in half. This is in the style 420. I use these all the time. They're probably one of my most loved and used lash styles that I use both in my makeup kit and on myself. So I'll end up with this. I'm just cutting it straight down the middle. And to apply that, I'll be using the Duo Lash Adhesive. This is my favorite. Thoroughly coated the band. I'm gonna let this dry down so it's nice and tacky, and so it sticks to my lash line right away. Should be nice and tacky. Now I'm of course placing the outer corner of this lash much higher than the natural groove and curve of my lash line. I've talked about this before. It just gives my eye a nice little lift up. It gives it like a little bit of a cat eye effect. Both lashes are on and secure. I'm gonna just add one more coat of the Climax mascara to this eye, which I know is totally dried down as far as the glue goes. And what this is gonna do is just give it a little more drama. It's gonna help to kind of weld the two together. So it's gonna help to blend my lashes in with the false lashes. Now I don't wanna hit the tips of my lashes and have them look clumpy. So I'm really just focusing this at the root to blend the two together. Okay, so moving on to face, I'll be applying the Light Reflecting Foundation. Let's start with one pump. Maybe 2 pumps. I'm gonna start with 2 pumps. And I'll be applying this with a BK Beauty 110 brush. So just working that into the bristles. I'm gonna start mainly in the center of my face. So this foundation gives a beautiful, beautiful, like lit from within type quality. It is like very much so light reflecting. It's got this beautiful bounce back to it. So if you're in person especially, or if you're taking like flash photography, if you're at an event at night, this just gives your skin a really beautiful, really glowy and luminous finish. This would be amazing if you have dry skin, if you want like that extra like hydrating feeling with your makeup. This is a beautiful, beautiful foundation. Now, as far as the finish of this foundation, this reminds me a lot of one of my favorites. It's the Armani Luminous Silk. Definitely blends on and just feels very similar to that foundation. So if you like that foundation, you're wanting to try something different, you'd probably really like this one. Now that my foundation is on, I'm evened out, I'm going to switch to my concealer in the shade Honey and apply this, of course, under my eyes. But I'll also be using this shade as my highlighter. So I'll be taking this down the bridge of my nose, center of my forehead, and all the areas that I like to highlight my face. Honey, to me, in particular, like this shade, is one of those staple colors that I always have to have stocked in my kit because it has like a beautiful neutral pink undertone to it, which is just so flattering under the eyes. It's not, you know, a lot of the concealers on the market are just super yellow based, and there's not a lot of great like neutral options to choose from. So Honey's like one of those colors as a makeup artist that I always have to have stocked up in my kit. So just covering up those dark circles and then give my eyes a little lift up, a little bit in the center of my forehead, like right between my brows. And I'm going to highlight and bring out this darker area of my, like around my nose. And then on top of my chin. And then just a little bit to lift up the corners of my mouth. Now to blend it out, I'll be just taking an A503 brush from BK Beauty. Now to blend out my nose highlight, I'm going to take a damp beauty sponge. This is the Paw Paw Wonder Sponges. I have these linked in my Amazon favorites video, finally. Because I know I talked about linking these for a long, long time. And now I'm going to gently blend out the edge of my concealer between my forehead. Okay, so now my concealer is on. I'm not going to set it yet. I'm going to go back to my cream bronzer and switch to a larger brush this time for a really soft and more natural application. And I'm going to add one more layer of that product with the 107 brush from BK Beauty. And just go back over the areas that I want to have just a little bit more intensity. Now that my foundation is on and now that my concealer is on, I'm just going to bring out a little bit more of this color. Taking a little more on my cheek, just to softly define it even more. Go back to my Sephora 26 brush and just very, very lightly go over my nose contour one more time. And then buff out my temple. Going back to my 210 brush, same thing. I'm going to go back over my lip line one more time, adding that extra layer to define my lip shape before I even go in with my lip products. Now, one of the benefits of layering your makeup, just like I'm doing right now, is the longevity aspect. Yeah, it's not completely necessary to go back over your cream bronzer, but if you do, you're obviously gonna get a little more dimension and you're gonna get a little more color payoff, of course, and it's going to further enhance that existing cream contour that I had underneath, but it's also gonna give me such great longevity that my makeup is gonna stay put all throughout the day. Okay, now onto the multiple. This is gonna be like my pre-blush and it's gonna give me that beautiful glow. This is in the shade Orgasm, so it's gonna be like that shimmery, more glowy pink. I'm going to warm this up since this is a very cold cream product and I don't know how stiff it's going to be on my skin. I'm not going to directly apply it. I'm going to first warm it up. Okay, yeah, this is a little was a little stiff for sure. I'm gonna warm it up on the top of my hand, and I'm gonna take a BK Beauty 112 brush. Just so I don't waste this, I'm gonna take that onto the brush and then get a little more from the product and start on the top of my cheekbones. So this is deceiving because it doesn't look like it's gonna be super glowy. I mean, it didn't look like that on the top of my hand anyway, but once it hits my skin, it's definitely giving me a beautiful, luminous glow. But it's not like a in your face kind of glow. It's a little more subdued, a little more subtle. It's really pretty. It's also not as pigmented as I thought it was going to be. It's a little more on the sheer side. So I'll definitely want to layer it with the powder Orgasm blush on top. I'm going to take a little bit and just put it on the center of my nose. And then with whatever's left over, I'm going to sweep it on the highest point of across my forehead, just for some added glow. Actually, let me go back in for some more. Okay, so now that that is on, I'm going to finally start to set my under eyes. And I'm going to be using, I'm pretty much only going to use this powder, I think, to set my under eyes. But before I do that, I'm going to take my concealer brush one more time. I'm going to blend out any creases that happened in between. Just buff those out gently. Okay, now that is buffed out, I'm going to take my Real Techniques brush and that light reflecting powder and just press this under my eyes. Now, I've used this powder before. I clearly had this in my possession. And I will say it's a nice powder. But if you're using this under your eyes, which is one of the main places I like to use this powder, or just powder in general. If you know me, you know I love my under eyes powdered. It doesn't prevent creasing throughout the day as well as I would like it to. So just a little disclaimer, this powder does not make your under eyes crease proof. It will set it, but it doesn't make it crease proof. I'm going to take extra of this powder and just bring it along my smile lines, making sure it's nice and matte and a little more set. And then in the center of my forehead, right between my brows, basically all the areas that I highlighted my face with that concealer, I'm going to set with this powder. And then I'm going to pretty much leave the rest of my skin more luminous, more glowy, a little more natural. I'm going to go back to my under eyes and finish the bottom lash line. I'm going to go for a little bit more of a smoky effect on my bottom lash line. So I'm going to go back to Mambo and just line about halfway across the inside waterline. Going back to my Zoeva 226 smudger, gently buffing out the edges. Back to the brown eyeshadow. I'm going to switch to an A504 brush from BK Beauty. Dip into that sparkly brown and start to work this on the bottom lash line to give it that smoky look. Once that's applied, I'm gonna go back to that purple, even though I have to say I'm a little disappointed because the purple didn't have as much pigment as I wanted it to. It just didn't have that color payoff that I was looking for. Even that lighter shade in the same palette, the same duo that I applied in the inner tear duct, I feel like it's basically like dispersed as I was doing the rest of my makeup. It just kind of faded off and it lost its pigment and its shine throughout this entire tutorial. So a little disappointed in the color payoff. I remember NARS being just different. I don't know if they changed their formulas. If they did and you know, let me know because I wasn't aware. But I just feel like it's missing, I don't know. It's not giving me what I was looking for. It's still pretty, but I just thought the pigment would be there and it's not quite there. I've had to really work in layers and layers. Not talking about my face, that was a different purpose, but in my eye makeup I had to work in so many layers to get the color payoff that I was looking for. So just something to note. Taking that purple again, and as you can see I'm just lining the inner part of my bottom lash line. Definitely was a little taken aback by the lack of color payoff. Bottom lash line is pretty much almost done. I'm going to add a little bit of that Climax mascara to my bottom lashes. To set my cream blush, I'm going to go with the OG, the classic powder Orgasm blush from NARS. And just using a kabuki brush. Is actually a Japanese kabuki brush, but NARS, I don't know if you knew the backstory, but NARS has the exact same, or had the exact same brushes as Japanese. Just keeping that blush nice and high up. And then sweep a little bit across my forehead. And then with whatever's left over, just tapping it onto the center of my nose. Okay, we reached the finale. We're gonna do the lips. Okay, face is done. We're moving on to lips. I'll be first applying the Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in Bahama. I'll be using this as like my lip liner basically. These are also meant to just be like a jumbo lip pencil. You don't have to use this as an actual liner. In fact, I'll probably throw this in my purse after this tutorial and I'll keep this for when I'm on the go. This is like one of those kind of colors that I would use daily as just like an all over lip color. To me, the most exciting part, which is the Dolce Vita lipstick. I cannot wait to put this on again. So pretty. This feels so moisturizing on my lips. It feels so comfortable, and I really truthfully don't need to top it with any more shine, but I really want to because I really want to use the Chelsea Girls lip gloss. So I'll be topping it with that. And that completes this full face using only NARS. That's a wrap on this full face using only NARS Cosmetics. I had so much fun creating this full-on glam look for you all. If you like this look, give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on this video right here if you like a full face of one brand. Check out my Makeup by Mario. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.